Shalom, Boker Tov. It's Rabbi Eric Solomon again. Here it is April 1st, April Fool's Day. Here in Raleigh, North Carolina, Beth Meyer Synagogue. Another week or so before Pesach, about 10 days, Passover. And it's good to see you again, even under these difficult circumstances. Starting a little earlier than usual, have a long day ahead. And I'm really holding you all in my heart. I know that this is getting more challenging and difficult for many of us, maybe all of us. And, I really dedicate these teachings, please God, to give some inspiration, some comfort, maybe some Torah to think about. So this Torah portion this week, we've been talking about a mixture of preparing for Passover, Pesach, and also the Torah portion is called Tzav, second Torah portion of the book of Leviticus. And in chapter 8, in this section, as we know, Leviticus is dealing with the priests and the preparation, those who are in spiritual leadership of the Jewish people in antiquity, offering sacrifices, doing the ritual, various ways of leading the Jewish people in relationship with God. And specifically in this chapter 8, Moses and Aaron call before other priests to ordain them. It's kind of the first moment, in a sense, of giving leadership, spiritual leadership, really leadership of the people, and describes the clothing they would wear and what's called anointing at that time, with oil, and really describes the ritual of how leaders were established at this time. And so I want to take that opportunity really to think about what does it mean to be dedicated or anointed as a leader, and what anoints us as a leader. And I want to let this know, I remember a story I'll never forget, a true story, happened to me. When I was in rabbinical school, I worked for a few summers at a Jewish sleepaway camp. For those of you not familiar, there's a whole system, an ecosystem of Jewish sleepaway camps, especially in the United States, been forever. And it's always a source of an opportunity for the Jewish community and children in particular to come together, to learn about Jewish culture and life, Jewish Judaism, to practice it in a beautiful environment, usually out in nature. It's been something that's been an absolute big influence on me and my family, and as well as just really, thousands, hundreds of thousands of Jewish children for generations. So I worked at a Jewish summer camp called Camp Harlam, Harlam, in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, a town called Kunkletown, Pennsylvania. And the director, when I was there, may rest in peace, a tremendous teacher and leader, big influence on me, was Aryeh Gluck, Zichrono Livracha. May his memory be for a blessing. He was an Israeli. He was a tremendous athlete. He participated in the Kapia Games, the international Jewish, Olympics, you might say, back when there was, for a variety of reasons, I don't want to detail about it, but he participated in that. He was a very elite soldier in the Israeli army. And through the course of his journey, he made his way to America, met an American woman, Philadelphia, New Jersey area, Cherry Hill. And he led not only the camp that I was, I was like the rabbinical supervisor, you might say, on the super senior staff, but he was the head of not only that camp, but head of all the Reform Movement's camps for years. And so his job was not only to lead our camp, which he did extraordinarily well, and extremely disciplined and a real vision, and built that place into just a tremendous place, outstanding. But he guided other leaders and helped hire, guide them, train them. So he told the story one summer when he came up, one of the summers I was there as the rabbinical supervisor. He told a story that before the summer would begin, all the camps, I think it was about 10 to 12 camps across the country, of all the Reformed Jewish communities, summer camps, would come together for a retreat, about 4 or 5 days, to get prepared for the upcoming summer. It happened like in April or May. This kind of time of year. And this particular time it happened in Colorado. I'll never forget I described it. He said they were driving in this 12-passenger van, and he was driving, and they were going up these kind of winding mountains somewhere outside of Denver, and they were going, I think, to dinner after having a day of discussions and preparations. And there were a number of people that had been camp directors for years, and some who had just been hired, and some in between. And they're driving up together, and they're going to dinner. And as they're driving, they're approaching like a turn. And those of you who've been to Colorado or from Colorado know, Colorado is such a gorgeous, talk about God's country. It's an unbelievable state, but it has those windy roads up the mountains, etc. And even in spring, it can be icy. So he's driving, and they witness in front of them a massive car accident where somehow a car slipped, hit the slide over the line, hit head on. It was something surreal. This is before the police, they saw it. So immediately pull the van over and they go out to help. And there's people hurt. Someone may have possibly died. The car is damaged. So some of the people are helping try to pull out. Some people are performing basic first aid. They're calling the police. So of the 12, the vast majority were doing all this, but 1 or 2 were paralyzed. Understandably, it was scary. It was dangerous. It just was unclear what to do. They didn't act. They watched. They couldn't move. And Aryeh said to our senior staff of people in their 20s, he said, when this event finished and we drove to the dinner, I pulled the 2 aside that were paralyzed and I fired them immediately. And my jaw dropped. I thought, what? What do you mean you fired them, Aryeh? He said, no. In the moment when a crisis occurred, they couldn't act. And that doesn't mean that they're bad people with good hearts. But when I hire a camp director, I'm putting the lives of hundreds of children, dozens of staff in their hands. And if they can't act in a crisis, then they can't do this job. And I can't sleep at night knowing that people will not be able to be acting to save lives in a moment of crisis. And it just sunk that piece of Torah wisdom right inside of me. And on the one level, I realized, first of all, that Aryeh was basically saying, look, you don't test people this way normally, but if this opportunity arises, this is a moment where leadership and character is revealed. And from this you learn. What I also realized is that you can't be afraid to make painful decisions when lives are on the line. And that also you're not going to discover it, in a sense, until you're in it. And a lot of life preparation is preparing for a moment that may never come, but when it does, your inside gets revealed. So I say this in context of Leviticus with the ordaining of priests, is that, you ordain these priests, Moshe and Aaron, rise them up. They need the help, they need the leadership, they need the next generation. But you're not going to know if they're ready until they're ready. And how's that relevant to here? A lot of our lives, we live for various reasons, striving for personal goals, family goals, professional goals. We have personal interests, we have things we love and enjoy, whatever. But in a time of crisis, this is a moment where character is revealed. A general quality in American cultural life is to be independent, to be an individualist, to go for the gusto for your own needs. And that has fed our economy and fed our great American dream. People willing to take risks and go for it on their own. Reminds me of the old story of Abraham. Why is Abraham called Ha'ivri, the Hebrew? Because the word Ever in the middle of Ha'ivri comes from the word means on the other side. The Midrash says that Abraham, when the whole world was on one side of the river, Abraham was on the other side. That's Abraham and American dream together, willing to go against the grain. But right now in this crisis, this isn't the time to go against the grain. This isn't a time where it's admirable to do your own thing. This is a time where we have to listen to what the authorities are telling us. Where we have to do what the group is doing, hopefully. Not only to save yourself, but to save others. I was just discussing with a bar mitzvah boy about practicing this ancient practice called the Nazarite. It's not worth getting into here. Maybe we'll do another Devar Torah, but it's this practice of a person who, in order to dedicate himself to God, chooses to not cut his hair, to not drink wine, and basically makes a vow to God to do these sacrifices of personal behavior for the sake of sacrificing oneself to God, dedicating oneself to God. And one of the commentaries talks about that it's not just about wine or not wearing your hair or making yourself socially distant from the community, although that's all a sacrifice. The bottom line is that the Nazarite is demonstrating discipline. Discipline. That the Nazarite will not engage in wine or not engage in a haircut, social behavior, because the Nazarite wants to dedicate himself to something greater. A lot of Jewish practice, keeping kosher. People say to me, Rabbi, does God really care whether I have this pork chop or not? Let me let you on a secret. I actually don't think God cares whether you eat a pork chop or not. I think God cares if you have discipline. I think God cares if you're willing to give something up for the sake of something greater. I do think there's particular issues around pork that are worth avoiding, but there's a spiritual value in developing discipline under normal circumstances, so that when you're under extreme circumstances, that discipline hopefully is in your neshama to be revealed, even when it's difficult. And I'm not saying it's easy. So what's my word today? My word today is to say, when Aaron and Moshe bring up these new leaders, they're not sure whether they're going to be ready to properly work as priests. Can they handle it? Can they do the work? That's what training is about. Getting people in discipline prepared. And now's a time when character is being revealed. Will you be one of those people that when the accident happens, you're paralyzed? Or will you be one of those people that's been in training for this and goes out to serve? And I'm not saying specific about car accident. I'm saying in general about this moment. This moment requires of us to dig deeper and discover. And if you're not sure you have it, it's okay. Most of us aren't sure. Most of us aren't tested. This is an opportunity to see if we have the training on the inside, ready to reveal. So I wish everyone, please God, a good day, a sweet day, a safe day, a healthy day, a day where we think about, is our character, when it's revealed, can it be something we're proud of? Because this is the time for a test. With God's help, I actually think the vast majority of us can do it. Boker Tov, Shalom.